So, I think a direct
Mike's on.
engagement might help for something like that. And the other thing, can you hear us, Mike?
He's got, he's audio. You Mike, can you hear us? Hello? Mike?
Might have walked away. Just for a minute for coffee or water. Yes. But the other thing, one of the things I think Jack took back is that we should have it at the farmer's market. The problem with the farmer's market is the booksellers need to be under cover, right? They're selling paper goods. So if it had rained, that would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
The other thing is in Scottsville, we talk about walkability, how important it is to have sidewalks, to have a nice neighborhood. It strikes me is that people can't even walk from the farmer's market. They can't walk from the farmer's market to Canal Basin. Then we're not really perhaps a walkable community, right? So the sandwich boards that we had designed were designed for walking traffic. They weren't big sandwich boards. They were designed for walking. Because we assumed that people would be coming through town for lunch, for just a stroll, for farmer's market, and then let's see what else is going on. But the traffic just didn't come.
Very so far.
Yeah.
He said he can't unmute.
He said what?
He can't unmute.
I think Meredith had this problem last night too. So,
Yeah, I'm saying, on my phone, guess that'd be the only option.
and I think we need to do it earlier, keep telling people, so that they can put it on their calendar.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did that too. The other feedback that came back from the event was you shouldn't schedule it on the day that they have events.
Yeah.
Well, when you're scheduling 5 months out, it's impossible to know
For sure.
what else is going to be scheduled on.
Yeah.
And we had some events going on in town where those people were engaged early on and knew that date had already been picked.
Yeah.
And they decided to have the date for their event.
Yeah.
Can't avoid that either, right? So, I don't know what to say.
I mean, I think re-engaging over and over, because people get kind of blocked to things that are out for.
Here's now.
Well, that's why we didn't want to advertise it for too long, because, you get tired and you just forget about it. But I think there might be something about personal connection.
Yeah.
Say, hey, can you come to this event? It'd be really great to see you, I don't know. So that engagement model, I think, could use some thought.
It'll work. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if Ready Scottsville is going to have something like that in the fall, I think we'll have to think about how to do that.
Yeah.
If Emily decides to do it next year, I have some additional ideas that I think might help, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's too far away.
Yeah, of course.
Mike, can you hear us now?
Can he hear us? He just
He can.
can't. He can hear it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Technology. He's gonna try, you can hear us, but he's gonna try and get back in some sit here.
Okay,
First, we have to call a meeting, the order.
okay, go ahead, Jeff.
Agenda's right over there.
Do you want to have,
Yeah,
these are both yours?
yes.
Okay, there you go.
So, we had a meeting at Brightspeed 3 weeks ago, I think, lost track of time.
Yeah,
So if Eileen can bring that up, what happened with price meeting, just give us like something that we can not totally, like secretly information that we can give
Just
out.
general
Just general details, that'd be great.
So we talked to Brightspeed about some of the challenges that we have with communications in town. I think they were very good. I think they were unclear in the beginning about what we were actually meeting them for.
Yeah.
So they opened up with something and I said, well,
Can you hear us now?
we're not really here to talk about that. You know. And we talked about how, downtimes, whether regardless of what the cause is, because it's sort of in their wheelhouse, their brand will suffer, the town suffers, and so it's our mutual benefit to come together, right? So I think it was a good first step. I think there were some things I learned that were a little bit surprising. I'd like to meet with them again and maybe address some of those specific issues with them. There were questions asked and the answers that came back didn't have a lot of specificity to them. So I think we were hoping for more detail, right? So for example, we were talking about long-term outages. Well, how do you define long-term, right? So it was questions like that, that I would like to have more specificity.
Or who's that for my cell phone?
So Jack, do you have anything to add to that?
We got use of their logo. Like we call it pricing flyers.
Okay.
Their logo, Michigan PIO. You might hear us now.
Hi, Mike, how are you?
Hi, sorry, I'm disconnected today.
It's okay, technology. What can-
So we're doing a quick recap of quick details about price meeting when you called me.
Yeah,
And so if you want
No, we don't need to recap. It was more for Brad, who was not there that day, right? So just catch you up. And, so two good things that came out of it, as Jack was saying, the use of the logo, right? And
Yes.
Jack managed to get that. And the other thing was a sort of a hotline to them. So for the chief, our chief of police or fire chief to use in the event something really goes south and they need to reach someone sooner than, through their normal process. So it's a number that's confidential. It was only given to town staff and to the heads of public safety. But at least I think that was a step forward for them to say, okay, if you have a problem and it's really an emergency, here's how you can contact us. So it's more like somebody's personal line. So, so those two were very good. They were very gracious with their time and, with that information. But like I said, I think we could have a follow-up with them. I don't know, could we meet quarterly or
It's up to you guys. I guess. I'm just
is
gonna-
that right? Is it semi-annual or biannual? Which is the line? Let's forget. Semi, right?
Semi.
Half a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mike, do you think that's possible to meet with Brightspeed like every 6 months? Is that too much to ask, do you think?
no, I don't think so at all. I think it's important that keep them in the 6 months time frame is probably okay. I mean, the incident today is a perfect example of potential, after action report, because I reached out to them about the situation. They had no idea what was going on, so
Typically,
that means that either our public safety group didn't contact them about it because there was obviously a need for solid connectivity when you shut down a complete road.
Yeah,
If that same thing would have happened in Scottsville and 2 houses would have been involved as an example. I was lucky that it was in an area where only 1 house was involved, but you know, the same situation had it happened in town, there would be 2 or more houses involved. And probably, you know, a lot more, I guess, people being, you know, shelter in place, or definitely been in order to shelter in place. So I don't know, it just, I'm a little frazzled from today for that reason, but.
Yeah, I went through my resources to see if anybody was reporting anything out in that area. The only thing was about the incident. That I won't go into details about.
Right.
That's the only thing I could see was just people talking about the incident, and there was nothing about break feed outage whatsoever in that area where the incident happened.
Well, maybe we should make quarterly. Is quarterly more reasonable? Okay.
The
Please.
head of Department of Human Services, who I report to at the county, got in touch with me, you know, soon after the incident started and said, you know, we're really going to need Brightspeed. We're going to need connectivity. And she got a report that they didn't have any connectivity at the site, so she was wondering why that was. And so my role there is to contact Brightspeed. This is where it gets a little frazzling. I'll try to be as graceful as possible about what I'm going to say. But despite what we heard from Brightspeed at your meeting, which is a good meeting, I got a response back from them. Has anybody opened a ticket?
Oh my gosh,
Yes, exactly.
you're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Do you have that number, Mike, that emergency number?
I don't. I was via email.
Okay, well, we need to make sure you have that as well. That's unacceptable.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're hesitant to hand it out to anyone other than public safety. I'm not a public safety official.
ECC has to have that number. My chief,
She should probably have that number.
Exactly.
it might, you know, ECC has that number because they have to have some number to contact for cold incidents.
Yeah, looking back, that may be a procedural thing on a situation like today. Instead of going directly to Brightspeed, I should have called, you know, Sonny Saxton or Lily over at ECC and said, hey, we want you to make sure Brightspeed is aware that we've got this going on where activity is going to prioritize.
Well, but you bring up a really good point, Mike, and we've talked about this before in terms of emergency operations plans and management, is that it's all well and good to put this stuff down, but if we don't have a clear process, that procedure, to your point, needs to be spelled out pretty clearly, who calls whom and when.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like go back to square one.
Sorry, Jack. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we need
Another meeting.
maybe we need another meeting sooner than later.
Yeah.
Can you work on that, Jack?
Yeah.
And let's have this as a post-incident meeting
I don't
from
think,
today.
I don't think they'd be able to give us the actual rundown of what happened.
I don't care about that.
Right.
What I care about, if an incident happens like this in town or somewhere else in the future, procedurally, what do we do?
Yeah.
Like, might want some folks like from ECC or, even your supervisor on the call to make sure everybody's on the same page there. Do you think that's reasonable?
Yeah, I do. You know, I would advocate for Kathy Dingbeck. She's head of human services.
Right.
Just, you know, encompasses social services, and they play a role. And she's also, I think she's head of the heart teams. There's one now, there's going to be a second heart team that obviously played a role here because they're the mental health team. They have a police officer, a fire rescue person, and a social service worker. So that was the team that was dispatched to help the residents of the home who were fortunately were able to exit the building, in other words, and From that point, these folks take over because obviously there's some sort of mental issue going on here, but, anyway, I think that's a good idea to get her involved, to represent both, her department, social services and the hard team. Because, okay.
All right, let's first, Jack, let's first get a date on the calendar with Brightspeed.
Right.
And then,
I don't know what this needs to know.
Then maybe you can work with Mike to get, the other players. Javier is a must at this, myself,
Mayor,
the team, mayor, right,
Police.
and police, and fire, if they're available.
Yeah.
So let's get something, it needs to be far enough out so we
So-
can get it on everybody's.
3 months from now,
No,
2 months?
no, I'd like to do it, in 3 weeks.
That might
2
be.
or 3 weeks if we can. 3 weeks might be better for people with super busy schedules. How far do you typically schedule out, Mike, just in general?
Oh, with the Brightspeed folks?
No, just, on your calendar, like, when does it thin out, like the 3 weeks a month, or is it just busy all the time?
I'm flexible, although I will be out the second half of May. Just,
Okay, is early June too late?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna probably benefit from the police department and fire rescue having done their own operations on.
Right, and we should get those reports in preparation, so they'll have time to distill that and decide what can be
Release.
shared publicly and whatnot. So let's target it for like the first week in June.
So what day is that?
Oh, God, you would have to ask me.
Is it like June?
Let me see, hang on. It's June 3rd through 7th. Pick a day.
Let's do June 4th. What's the first Thursday of that week?
6th.
Let's do the 6th.
Okay.
Is it okay with you? Are you free that day?
Mike?
Yes, that's for me,
Okay,
yes.
so can you pencil that in, Mike?
3 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, we'll have to get with,
Yes.
Jenkins, yeah. And
Yeah.
Javier.
well, I've got a meeting with Kathy. This is good because I'll just have her attend this meeting. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, by then we should have any, incident.
Do we really want to write our own FOGs about what to do in this situation for Destin Town only?
Yeah. Why, our purview is not beyond the town.
But we just don't want to overlap the county's procedures.
Based on today, it sounds
I
like
have, yeah.
procedure. So if we can develop, I look at this as a joint exercise.
Yeah.
The county will benefit and the town will benefit. This shouldn't be a town-county issue, right?
Yeah.
It should be, an incident happens, we need communication, what's the procedure, who gets notified,
Yeah.
right? Okay, anything else, with Brightspeed?
Mike, anything else?
No, I don't have anything new. Firefly's working hard to get everybody connected there. It's going to be a year, so.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're in, Brightspeed's in for a rude awakening
Yeah.
when that happens. Okay, CERT program in Scottsville.
This is a rough draft. I sent out a PowerPoint yesterday with the rough draft of basically, let's say, of what will be in the PowerPoint presentation.
Well, this is the power.
Yeah, this is a PowerPoint, it's just, we try and narrow it down, this is what, does rough draft and what,
This is still too much,
I know, I'm gonna try and narrow it down to like 10 slides,
still too much.
7 slides.
Too
One
much.
slide?
No. Typically, the way I always did it, if you were briefing executives,
Yeah.
right, it had to be 1 or 2 pages.
Yeah.
No more than that. At our level, it could be maybe half a dozen pages. There's only so much time and absorptive
Yeah.
capacity people will start to snooze on. So I would say no more than 6 pages. If you're looking at who's the target audience,
Yes, your next party up from us, town council.
town council, 2 or 3 pages.
Right.
So 1 page for execs, 2 to 3 for next year. And then 5 to 6 on a general briefing. I think that's about as much as anybody
Put on the snails.
can stand. Well, it's not, I mean, it's just people in general, right? I mean, if you put this kind of slide packet in front of the general public and ask them to read or go through this whole thing,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like, you gotta be crazy.
So I did talk to briefly yesterday with Chief Jenkins. He does want the program to be able to provide assistance for traffic control around town for big events where they don't have.
Okay, that's a benefit.
Yeah, it's
Right,
been.
so we talked about kind of the cost in terms of money and time. The benefit, it helps grant application, it helps, you know, police with traffic control, list those kinds of
Yeah.
things. The requirements that we need, there's always an ask at the end of
Yeah.
this. The bottom line, the last slide in the deck should be what you need from council
Yeah.
or whatever, right?
So if we
So
look at,
5 slides plus the ask.
yeah,
I mean, 2 or 3 slides plus
so
the ask.
basically what I'm requesting town council is to put as a sponsor organization, because it's a requirement, so we put them on top of the structure and then the team leader, which is myself.
Wait a minute, on what structure, Jack?
This is what this is FEMA's structure. I can't change it. This is what they were requiring.
I understand what you're saying.
And so
But when I looked through this before, I said, there's no way they're gonna bite off on.
this is, I have to follow FEMA does. FEMA has certain rules I have to follow, and this is one of them. This is required by FEMA. I can't go around this.
Well, the government agency liaison,
Yeah, that's gonna be whoever wants to be, it could be public safety, town administrator, mayor.
that should be Javier.
Then this is, I can't change any of the structures from FEMA.
So the team, go ahead, Mike.
You're just this seems to be really simple. Especially if your task force is going to do the funding, you need 2 things from council. They need to assign Javier to government agency liaison, and they need to support you in your efforts to get the funding you need for this. Even though it's not coming from them, you're not asking them for funding, but they need to just, spread the word and not have one town council member say, I don't want to do a CERT, and 3 others or however many, 4 others say they do. See what I mean? It's got to have unanimous support for getting the funding and, approval from the council to assign Javier, and he might not have time. Maybe
Yeah.
say, well, this is important.
Right, exactly.
And so basically, this, I can't change the structure. Because it's
Right.
stepping on the boundaries of the federal, and then when we request approval, this would deny the request.
Right, but we're not at that point.
Now, it's just a
We're not even
preview,
close,
yeah,
right?
it's just a preview,
Right, this is all of what CERT would
yeah,
require.
it's a require.
But what you're asking, and to Mike's point, and
Yeah.
thank you for chiming in on that, Mike. You're asking them to assign Javier to that role,
Yeah.
and you're asking support to implement CERT training in town.
No, it'd be under the my nonprofit, do everything else funding it, so we're not
I know,
going to town budget,
You still want
Yeah.
their support for it, right?
yeah,
Because it's gonna require people
Yeah.
and time and what, and to Mike's point, you don't want council going out, hearing about this program and saying, we don't support that program.
but yeah, like I said, I have a manpower, we're not, we can not have to go through the town budget, cutting things that are really important to town. So I'm saying, like, cutting, like, no budget issues would be able to have it easier if we, a nonprofit comes in, runs something without having to take out budget out money out of town.
Yeah, I'm not debating, it, right? What I'm saying is, the only thing we're asking for
Yeah.
in this chart is for
So-
them to appoint someone
Yeah.
at the town level to be the government agency liaison. I
Yes.
think it makes most sense for that to be.
Yeah.
Now, to Mike's point, and I think it's well made, whether Javier has time is one thing, and whether the council will support that as
Yeah.
part of his work program is a second thing.
Yeah,
If they will not do those two things, there's no way that we can move forward with CERT training this year.
yeah,
Now, the other thing that you may want to do, if Chief Jenkins supports it, then get with Chief Jenkins and do sort of a joint presentation or proposal for
Mm.
that. If it's beneficial to Chief Kersley and Chief Jenkins, if they'll, support it, then I think it will get more weight at the council level.
so we do also join the fire.
Well, see who you can get. I mean, you've already said Chief Jenkins feels it would be helpful for him. But let's ask him if he'd be willing to work with you on presenting a few slides,
Yeah,
2 to 3 to the council. Right, and what the program is, what it's gonna take, why you feel it's important, and how it'll benefit us, et cetera. And you can hand this out as background
Yeah.
if they want more information, but do not use this to go
Just like
through.
I said, this is just a rough draft. of
Now,
what-
you will lose.
Like I said, this is just a rough draft of ideas that is putting together, start a discussion about this idea, and we can like figure out what we should do.
And, you know, I'll be there too, but, I think it will be more poignant coming from you and Chief Jenkins.
Yeah. Like I said, this is just gonna be, this is a work in progress, and there's no big rush about this, this is
Yeah.
trying to start the discussion.
Baby steps.
Baby
right? We
steps.
always talk about baby
And
steps.
so basically, my other ideas were that we could potentially use this as part of Radio Scottsville. We begin and end with Radio Scottsville, because that's what CERT does, is a public outreach. So we have more manpower. We can do, help out with outreach, give out flyers to public.
Well, then that sounds like a benefit to the
Yeah.
community, right? So you might wanna
And
add
so
that
also,
benefit.
I know that when we have that meeting with the Ohio's planning, they want to have the team to help with evacuations. That's from the fire side.
Yeah, that's a really good.
And so what, after thinking about it, how many times will they use that? Sir, that's the back way to town. Why not add more stuff to it? Because nobody wants to do that. This is wait, that happen. They get lost out of interest. They want to quit.
Well, you know, we just have to be realistic
Yeah.
about, the boundary conditions here, right?
It's like no curriculum for assisting with evacuation. I looked at that.
That's right, and it's just like we talked about with Brightspeed,
Yeah.
you need the process in place, right? It's not just about, okay, we plan to do this, this, and this, that's the what's, where's the hows?
And how.
Right, we're gonna evacuate people here, and we're gonna do this here, and we're gonna do that here, okay, that's great, but how are we going to do?
Like I said, there's no curriculum. I talked to California where they started, so they have no curriculum how to do this with certain members. So we have to write our own curriculum, which is quite frankly. How? Like how much people won't be interested in doing that instead of doing the other stuff that's required by the survey. You see where I'm going with this?
It sounds like a lot of work, Jeff.
I don't have time to feel.
All right, well, if you feel passionate about that, I think it's fine, but I think you need to get somebody at the town staff level,
Yeah.
Javier and Chief Jenkins, sort of on board.
So basically, I don't know if we have to, nobody wants to sit, that's evacuate people, like I said, it's just somebody, they're gonna lose interest, not want to do it. It depends on how long. So like,
Yeah, well, I think we have to have more specific.
Yeah.
And again, we have to take baby steps.
yeah.
But the fact that we have an EPC committee at all is is great progress, quite frankly. So let's go and ask for those couple of
Right.
things, and if we get those at the council level, then we can take the
Right.
next step.
Just like I said, this is like framing all every single idea you can come up with, Googling stuff, you get into this, so that's why it's on.
That's okay, and that's good background. So if they want to read afterwards, say, I'm providing you additional
Yeah.
information for background.
Yeah.
Eddie will probably want to go through that if he hasn't already gone through
Yeah.
that, right?
He's
He's
done
very
programs.
good at that. Yeah, so, and maybe Eddie's a good one to team up with it, you know, get his thoughts on that. So it's just, I think there's a little bit more background work that needs to be.
Yeah, almost like I said, with this, the brief rundown, like I can make it down 1 3 pages.
You can use that to go from. to
Yeah,
make
yeah.
Your product that you're using to try and sell, so
Right,
like
but
you did all the labor.
But he needs to make it Scottsville specific.
That's gonna be
This
hard,
is really what's beneficial at the
federal.
federal level.
It's like,
So he's gotta distill that down.
Basically, I can write a
What
whole-
does it mean to me? What are you asking me? Right?
Basically,
That's really what we
yeah.
want to know.
Basically, I can write a whole program. But I can't get access to county stuff because they don't, like I said, they're restructuring everything in county. But we have to completely come up with our own.
Well, you'll have to tell them
Yeah.
that's what you're gonna have to do.
So basically, it's figuring out what's beneficial, how do we want to do this in Scottsville? Like I'm coming up with each case scenario, basically.
Yeah, but this is before that.
I know, it's trying to figure out like how to present better, like give them statistics, why this is beneficial. So I'm saying,
Yes, I do.
so I have to go through each use case. Make it to statistics.
I don't think you're.
You don't think so?
Well, I don't think you'll get that far. People are busy, Jack.
I have tons of interest from when we did that, social media thing, like,
You have tons of interest in the community.
yeah.
What you need is
People,
sponsorship from the town and a team lead
yeah,
from the town to show that you have support. That's step one. But once you have that, then we can talk about what the next step is in terms of getting people to sign up or whatever it takes. Okay?
right, what's the, you have something with E91 signs?
Ordinance for E911 signs. I do have a draft ordinance. I want this to go on the agenda for next meeting. I'm going to the Architectural Review Board tonight to get their recommendation on how we would have E911 signage in the historic district of the town. We're waiting on the grant award.
Next month, I think.
Well, I think we might get notified even this month for final award next month. I have a feeling that they'd let you know in May. So we're waiting on that. And so, yeah, it's a little bit of a waiting game. If we find out we don't get the grant, then
Back to square one.
back to square one. Yeah. Okay, so that's the only thing I had on ordinance for,
Use case ops plan review.
this can go on the agenda next time too. I developed, okay, so when we met with Chief Kersey, when he was here last, and he hasn't been here since. I don't know what I did to take him. No, I'm just teasing. He said he's gonna take the lead on the ops plan, and then EPC would review the ops plan in conjunction with them. So I was working on 5 high-level use cases that we could use to test the ops plan. So for example, one of the use cases would be severe weather incident with a communications outage. That lasts more than 72 hours. Right? So then let's take that and look at who's involved. This is really about the how now, right? It would take that, kind of outline all the parameters for the scenario, and then start to go through how that scenario would look, given the ops plan that they've presented. A second use case might just be a power outage. A prolonged power outage. A third one might be train derailment. Right, so I'm picking 5 kind of really high level use cases that aren't like specific to our normal things like flooding and whatnot. So they have aspects to them that we don't normally consider. Does this seem reasonable to everyone?
Yeah,
that way, when we go into the ops plan review, we can just use these 5 use cases or whatever it is to say, okay, walk me through, here's the scenario, here's the actors, here's involved, here's what's happened. Walk me through the process on what goes on, right? That's what we want to understand. So I really want to get to the how in that ops plan review. So in the next meeting, I will share my draft of those use cases beforehand with you all. I would ask that you all review them and kind of prepare your thoughts and notes on those, because I'd like to refine those before the ops plan comes out. And it's gonna take us a while. This is not like, oh, it's gonna be reviewed. It's not like a document review, right? It's really gonna take some thought. So we have, I doubt they're gonna have the ops plan review until fall, let's say, or maybe even later. But we have several months getting everything else that's going on to say, okay, let's start to look at use case 1. First of all, is this the appropriate set of use cases? Do we all agree?
So how do
Then
you,
take each one and start to flesh them out from our perspective and what our questions would be.
so how do we know if these are gonna be the use cases they put in the book before?
We don't, but if they're general use cases, Jack, we don't
Right.
need to know. The whole point is, right, yeah, exactly. That's a great term, Brad. Thank you. To stress test it so that they don't know what to
Yeah.
expect from the use cases. And then we have them walk through it. If the plan is comprehensive enough, they'll be able to articulate
Yeah,
with the plan how they address various things in this, in this
Yeah.
scenario. Do you get what I'm
yeah,
saying?
I was just curious because I know that, look, I just don't want to come way off that, it's not including in the all plans.
Well, what Chief Pursley told me is that they feel that what's there is pretty good. It's probably 75 to 80% there, but they were gonna broaden their scope and they were gonna make corrections to the playlist, right? So I want to see how broad the scope is, and these use cases will test the breadth of that scope and also the details within the plan. Even if it's not articulated, they should have a good sense in their mind for how that would play out. Right?
Mhm.
Anyway, that's my thinking.
Alright.
If you all feel that's rational, I'll
That's-
share the use cases. We can at least say, are these the appropriate ones as step 1? And then we can take each one in turn and detail this.
Yeah. For our own essay too, if we're trying to sell it to other members, the community. We need to know this on our end as if we have actually been through the plan, so.
Exactly.
It's functional that way.
And, the whole reason I started to get behind this in the beginning was, after that little fire, and I'll say it again, people ask me questions and I couldn't answer them.
Yeah.
Right? So I would like to be able to answer them at least at some level.
Mhm.
Right? And there's some things that we may need to, ready Scottsville to push. So for instance, we talked about Knox boxes for businesses and things like that. We can use these use cases to say, well, for this to be effective, we need to have these people be aware of
Yeah.
this, put this in place. We might need search training, whatever it is, right? We need volunteer leads on the ground level to help evacuate people. We need whatever it is.
Yeah, any hiccup along the way, you start to wiggle this up.
Exactly. And listen, this is in the spirit of continuous improvement. I don't expect we're gonna get everything right out the gate either, but this is a way to stress test that system and to extend our own knowledge about what will go on should some kind of big incident occur.
Yeah, I think it makes perfect sense.
Okay. So if you're all on board, I will share that with Jack, and then Jack can share that with the group.
We actually emailed the CPC at Seville 17, TF17.com.
Oh, okay, just email.
It's like same thing with the town
Okay.
council email.
Yeah, I gotcha. And I typically email PDFs because then you can read our phones and stuff like that. So we won't go through an edit cycle yet. So it's just really just looking at the 5 or 6 and saying, yeah, does it sound right? And in that that diagram of use cases, you'll see the framework that I have of things that we need to flesh out. Who are the actors involved? Some use cases will require only public safety and not fire and rescue. Some will require other parties, right? So we need to make sure that when we're going through them, there's a set of actors and that everybody knows if this scenario occurs or something akin to it, you're on the hook, right? So those are the kinds of details in the framework that you'll see that I think we need to flesh out. Okay. All right, Jack?
Like I said, we had a successful race Scottsville table. Was it last weekend, or 2 weekends ago?
I think it's the weekend before last, right?
So last weekend. 2
April
weekends.
20th.
April 20th, we had Scottsville, we may have. Good cutting books went galore. This one was a handout. People did take a lot of the community resources flyer, and a lot of people took some of the Bright Street flyer.
Okay, great.
I think the flyer Bright Street was more successful.
Yeah, well, it shows that other
It showed
people are paying attention. Right.
other people paying attention to Bright Street. And, I thought we were just now gearing up for July 4th. We did get.
Are you doing back first?
Back, no, so funny story, we have a Scottsville Middle School PTO reached out to me. They offering a 5K race, May 18th,
Oh, okay.
and so I reached out to the people, my task force, CPC, Brad's helping out with it. They asked for some resources out of us. For volunteering for the event, and I got my drones on its way back. And some do some aerial coverage for them,
Nice.
show them, so we can keep track of where people are.
That's great, Jack. That's a great community service.
And so we have that on May 18th, which is around the corner. Then we have the Bachelor Festival bee, I guess, we're bee pollinator day.
What day is it?
Well, I don't know, somewhere
In June, right?
in June. Then we got the Bachelor Festival, then we're about 85% chance of probably raining for the 3rd consecutive year in a row. As it always happens every Bachelor Festival.
Yeah.
So that's on the big counters for. Also, I did, by the way, taken 2 courses yesterday. And I got certified as a team leader, type 1 and 2, which will help us get more breaks. And help us with more information regarding team leadership. I will be gone and training 2 weeks in July for finishing up my FEMA courses. Shall be done by August 1st. Now I'm all done with those.
Very nice.
So. That's all I have. Anything else on Canada? Mike,
No, sounds good. Congratulations on getting all this training.
it's free. I don't pay cost tuition.
Good thing you have connectivity,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, good seeing you all.
Okay, thanks for joining us, Mike.
Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.
Melody sent me this thing with Civic Plus, they host our website.
Yeah.
And they have a webinar on the benefits of modern fire and life safety software.
Okay, that's 20 grand. I'll look into that.
I think it's a free,
No. I'm gonna stop.
well, Melody says it's for free.
Oh, it is. I can take a look at it. Did she email it to all of us?
No, just to me, but you can ask her about it. All right, so. I'll have my ARV meeting tonight and then I'm done.
Oh,
Well, it was a pleasure.